or border security under discussion. Mr. Jordan, I don't want to imply that I wasn't listening, but maybe I wasn't listening as carefully as I should have been as you started
Never
your
happens
remarks.
in Congress.
You gave us a recitation of some numbers
Yeah.
of what this country has seen in the last 2.5 years.
Yeah, but just the last weekend, 26,072 hours in one sector in Texas. So 5 million over the 28 months of the Biden administration. So you could go on and on. But the big
So
number.
let me just stop you there. 5 million over the months of the Biden administration. Is anyone aware of a comparable situation in any country where 5 million people in 2 years and a little more have been infused into the population? I mean, and that's on top of, we normally take in what, 1.1 million people legally each year?
Yeah, yeah. And I will tell you what, one of the sheriffs who testified at a hearing, he said 28 years of law enforcement, he's a sheriff on the border in Arizona. He said he's never seen it this bad. In 28 years, he's never seen it this bad. And frankly, he said in the previous administration, it was as good as he's ever seen it. So in 28 years of law enforcement on our southern border, he says right now it's as bad as it's ever been.
Bad or worse. And then here is the problem and why it's so critically important that people see a seriousness about a border security bill. In 48 hours, what has been untenable may become astonishing in its level.
Good point.
And we've seen the drone pictures of people that are sort of waiting their time to, because of this notion that when Title 42 expires, there really will be no limits on the amount of people that can come into this country. Is that correct?
Yeah, and the one other thing, when you have that volume of folks coming across the border, coming into our nation, there are going to be some bad people. And we know of 200 on the terrorist watch list. And never forget, a year ago when Secretary Mayorkas was in front of the Judiciary Committee, we asked him a question. At the time, it was only 42, I believe. Now it's 200. At the time, 42, we said, what is the status of those individuals? And you may remember his answer, because everyone watching remembered. He said, I don't know. He didn't know if they were detained. He didn't know where they were. And you're coming in front of the Judiciary Committee as the Secretary of Homeland Security, security of the nation. You should know the status of the 42 individuals who are on the terrorist watch list, and he did it. And now that number is 5 times what it was at the time that he testified.
So one of the other things that's being discussed currently down on the border is will be the inability of the NGOs to handle the number of people that are dropped off at their locations. Now, historically, I mean, multiple trips down to McAllen, I've seen it over and over and over again where a notice to appear is given and the folks are dropped off at Sacred Heart Church in downtown McAllen. They're given a fanny pack with a bottle of water and a bus ticket and good luck to you. But now those NGOs will be overwhelmed. Catholic Charities will be overwhelmed. And basically, people will just be turned loose on the street corners and hope to catch a bus somewhere. Has there been any discussion, either in Judiciary or Homeland Security, about how that's going to be handled? What's going to be the mechanism of control on the streets of those border communities? Either one of you.
You used the right word, Doctor. The word is overwhelmed, and that's what's happening. And now the Biden administration is talking about, and Secretary Marks is talking about.
If I could, they're overwhelmed now.
Yeah.
In 48 hours, in
worse.
a week's time, it's going to be astonishing at the level.
The president did act, he is sending 1,500 military down there to process. But again, what the president...
Let me interrupt you there.
Yeah.
And my governor said 1,500. And these are people with pencils in their hand to
That's correct.
To
They're there to
notes.
process people. They're not there to stop anyone. And that just encourages more.
And that number should be 15,000 or 50,000 with enforcement capabilities. Instead, these are clerical
They're
personnel.
processors, yes.
So,
Add to the incentive.
yeah, and really that's what's so worrisome. And Mr. Jordan, Chairman Jordan, you referenced a term that a lot of people may not be familiar with, and we know from past experience there are so many people that hang on the televised Rules Committee hearings. Like, can you explain the Darien Gap to people who might not know.
It's in
what the Darien
Panama, it's where they
Gap
come
is.
through, and it's, and they're already massing there, so, you know, and we've all seen the caravans of folks coming, and, you know, look, we all say we don't fault anyone for wanting to get to the greatest country ever, but you got to do it legally, you got to do it the right way, and you got to have an administration that understands that, and this one doesn't.
But the Darien Gap is that area of real estate that exists south of Panama, between Panama,
Yep.
the Isthmus of Panama, and South America. But it is also some of the most ungoverned and lawless and dangerous real estate
Yep.
on the face of the earth. Is that not correct?
Yeah, we've had, I've not been there personally, but we've had members go down there and see for themselves. I think Chairman Green has been there, but yeah, that's what we're talking about. And their estimates are now thousands are already massing there to make the trek, and the burdensome and troublesome trek for north.
Well, again, the policies and what this administration has followed has only exacerbated the problem, and it's fixing to get worse on a level that I don't think anyone really can adequately anticipate. I also, Mr. Chairman, I had some, we heard about the New York Times article. I have a second New York Times article I'd like to submit for the record.
Hey, before you click on the next video, if y'all could do me a big favor and hit that like button. The algorithm loves it, and so do I, because it helps promote these videos and get the message out about what our government has been doing. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications, because every time I put out a video, you want to know about it, right? Thanks again, and have a good one. See you on the next one. Peace.